Do you have to sacrifice to be successful? I'm Nate, the Fit Future MD. I lost 30 pounds in 30 days, 50 pounds overall. Make sure you pick up that free workout and nutrition plan in the comments below or in the description below. You got nothing to lose, it's free. All I ask in return is your name and or who picks it up, your name and your email address to thank you, and make sure you email me back at fitfuturemd@gmail.com if it helps you. Like I say, I do this, to help people, and fulfill my purpose in life. So, if you're somebody I've helped, I'd really love to hear from you. All right, so we've all heard this idea. It's like, well, what are you giving up, for you to be more successful than the average person? And the truth is that the really only thing that you really have to give up is like wasted time throughout the day, right? So basically, like, you use the bathroom every day, right? What are you doing while you're in there? Are you playing a video game? Are you scrolling through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? Are you watching Netflix at night? Like, let's say, what are you doing with your free time, right? And the so some people would call that a sacrifice, like your downtime, but I really don't see that as a sacrifice. I see that as, being more efficient with your time, right? And whatever your craft is, right, there should be some kind of motivation to be the best at what you do, right? The expert in your field, or because otherwise, why are you doing something, right? Like, because, like I say, money is never going to fulfill you in your heart and in your soul, like, and if you're not doing what you love right now, that's fine. But still, to be successful, you have to climb the corporate ladder, or something like that. So it's still really about, and I know some people's jobs are just a paycheck, so you go in, you get your work done, and that's it for you, and you have interest outside of that, and that's perfectly fine. Like, and I hope that you've checked out my investing guides and stuff like that, so that whatever you do love, you can actually do full time, you know, instead of having to do it on the side, right? Like, so, and there's ways to, optimize your life so that you can get there sooner, right? So you don't want to be the 65-year-old man that, you know, well, probably 70 by the time I get there, right? 70-year-old man finally gets to retirement, and then you go do what you love and you physically can't do it anymore, right? Like, that's not what you want. You want to be, that's not what I want. I want to be doing what I love, you know, well before that, right? It depends on what it is for you. It could be fishing, hunting, basketball, it could be a lot of stuff, right? Whatever you deem is important. And let's say you got to look at kind of what your motivation is, right? And there's a lot of people out there that just don't have any motivation, right? Like, the world has knocked them down, and they say, oh, well, this is the best I can do, right? And and some people, that might be the best they could do, right? And that's okay. And it's okay to say, well, you know I can still retire, you know I can still be a multimillionaire even if I can't get to where, you know I'm living that dream life every day that I thought about as a kid. Like, I'm 36 years old. I probably will never play in professional baseball, right? Or be a professional football player anymore. Like, those were the dreams of a child. Now I'm, more thinking about like how people live every day, like how I grew up, and how right now I live in the house that, they were building when I was in high school, that style house, so as a kid I dreamed of, wow, this is what a house can look like. Like I dreamed of that, and I live in that house now, right? Own it, right? And just little stuff like that. Like you can make your dreams come true. Like you start out with a goal, right? Like a target or whatever you want to call it, right? And and then you devise a plan so that you can get to that target. And right now inflation's hurting a lot of people. Like gas prices are on the way up again. You know, it's costing a lot to raise a family now. Like, it's always cost a lot to raise a family, but or a significant portion of people's income, right? But you know, just to take your kid back and forth to school is, double what it was, a few years ago. And clothing's up, like, even for my brand, Ensorsale, like, you used to be able to get, shirts for a lot cheaper than you can now. Like, and you're going to see that, in prices, you're going to see that in companies, like where the price is squeezing that company owner, and they no longer can stay in business because of that, right? So 'cause their product's not worth. So like a regular T-shirt, for some people may not be worth $50, and it has to be $50 to make a profit, to pay that employee to sit there at the register, to pay somebody to stock the shelves, like, because minimum wage still might be at 7.25 or 7.50, whatever it is, but people can't live for that anymore, right? Because of inflation. So, I don't know how I got off on that, but but the question is, do you have to sacrifice? And I would say that it's not really a sacrifice. It's more of a like a rise in self-awareness, a rise in, like if you're a person like me that comes from the bottom, that doesn't come from money, doesn't come from a rich family, like, number one, you were trying to figure out, well, what are the rich doing, that my family wasn't doing, right? And number two is like, how can I incorporate that, what they are doing compared to what my family was doing, and is that really considered a sacrifice? And I really don't think so. Like, you can literally make your investing automatic, and it automatically go and buy into these funds, and so you can be on the right side of inflation, where the dollar's inflating, the corporations are making more money, like, and you're making more money because of that, right? So to be successful, you really don't have to sacrifice, but there's been books like The Latte Factor, where somebody sacrificed, it shows that if you sacrifice this coffee, this $5 cup of coffee every day, that right there alone can make you a millionaire. So it's not that you have to sacrifice something to get there. It's just that it makes it easier to get there if you do sacrifice something, right? And that might be the only joy in your life, right? Like, the only joy in my life is that I go and, no, I'm not saying for me, but for that person, that person might be the only joy in their life is that, or even worse, during the pandemic, the only human interaction somebody might have had was going to get that cup of coffee, during the day, and that was the only people they talked to all day, right? Like, imagine that. So I'll give that up. Is that success? It's really not, right? Like, you know, we had friends that were scared to hang out with us, and you know, and even during the pandemic, and because you just you thought, especially if they had some kind of comorbidity, like you just didn't want to be the one. I think the hardest part, for us or for me, was if I was the one that gave it to somebody and they died, like, and living with that, right? That same thing doctors have to go through, right? So, oh, I gave them this medication and this medication had the side effect and they died, like that would have been very tough on anybody. So, like I say, you don't have to sacrifice. It does make it easier, but you can put your investments on automatic and within 10 years be free if you want. That's at the minimum. Now, then if you want a full sacrifice, and like I do, or you wake up at 3 a.m., you're running multiple businesses, while you're working, like, you know, then you can get there a lot faster, or you have the possibility of getting there a lot faster. Like I say, that's the that's the crazy thing about America is, right? Like, you might work for 10 years, diligently hard, 15-hour days for 10 years and get nowhere. And then all of a sudden, one thing clicks and it's through the roof, right? And you're like, oh my God, how did this happen? Like, it's like the first time you get 1 million views on an Instagram post or on a TikTok, or and it's actually yourself, right? Like, it's a crazy feeling. And then you have to figure out, well, was that luck, or can you replicate it, right? So, and you also have to define what success is to you, right? That's where your target comes in, right? So figure out where your target is. Like, to me, anything less than 10 million right now, and it might go higher if inflation's higher. It might be 20 million by the time I get there because of inflation. Like, inflation, when I first did the calculation, inflation was supposed to be between 2 and 3%, and now inflation's all the way up to 7, 8%, right? So almost double. So, or almost triple, quadruple, so that's all the kind of stuff you got to think about. Like, when you're trying to, you basically just define what success is to you and then make a pathway to get there. For most people, success is going to be not starving when you retire, right? Like, not when you're too injured or sick to work anymore, that you're taken care of, that you leave a legacy to your family. Like, for most people, that's going to be success, right? And then there's that few, that small few that success is defined a lot higher than that, or not necessarily higher, but the success is, that would not be success to them, that would be a failure, right? But, or that their potential, their potential for some kind of glory or some kind of is higher than that, or is anyway, I can't think of the word for it, but if you know what I'm talking about, comment in the comments below. But anyway, I hope this helps you guys. Like, you don't necessarily have to give up what you love, to become successful. Like, define success for yourself, and make that target, make a plan to get to the target. And if I can help you any way, make sure you email me, make sure you comment in the comments below, follow, like and subscribe if you would like. Let's say, I lost 30 pounds in 30 days, and 50 pounds overall. So, and I've documented that on this channel to show you how to do it. I know the first part's kind of boring. It's just, what does the workouts look like? What am I doing? Like, all that's in the free workout nutrition plan. So You don't even have to go watch all those old videos if you don't want to, because it's all there. Like, so if you have any questions about that, you can always email me as well. So let's say I appreciate you all following along. Hopefully I'm helping you. That's why I do all of this, is to help others, with the knowledge that I learn. I say, I know, a lot of people, they don't like reading. They don't like, necessarily deep diving into things. And hopefully, with the knowledge that I have, I can help people. So anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.